why. Okay, now you can hear me. Now I think I finally got it. Oh, good Lord, all Friday. What a going on until I could start this video. But then again, is that not typical of of a needlebug video? Is there not always some kind, let me adjust this a little bit, some kind of issue? Always. So Bobby, Esther, Linda, and Jean, and Rivers. Oh my goodness. Do you know what it was? Here I am trying to connect to the live. Everything is all ready. And I keep hitting go live and I keep getting an error. Well, you know what it is? It's the VPN on my computer. So once I turned the VPN off, everything was hunky-dory, fine and wonderful. Oh, who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? So I am here now. I am going to try and stitch a little bit again. Bobby, welcome. I'm glad you found us and it's your first time here. So welcome to the stream and welcome to the NeedleBug. I hope you find something that you like. Yes, I did. I had a wonderful, wonderful birthday. For the most part. It was a great day. My daughter and her husband and my grandkids were here in the morning. I was supposed to go to my stepdaughter in the afternoon. However, it was so hot. Thank you, Jean. It was so hot. We decided that that was not something that we needed to or were able to do, because most of you know my husband has COPD. So heat is not his friend. So heat was not a place where he needed to be sitting out at a picnic. It just was not the place to be. I got to pull one thread. I thought I didn't need that number anymore, but it looks like I do. I'll be right back because it's right here. And if I can squeeze out of this little space that I have myself in and everything around me, it's a treat. It is a treat. So I might have to move something so that I can get out of my little space. There we go. And don't mind me, I'm in my pajamas. 3839. Here I thought everything is all ready, and guess what? I wasn't all ready anyway. Again, typical. Yeah, on my birthday, which was the 4th of July. So thank you all for the birthday wishes. It was very nice to see them. However, that evening, my sister, who had cancer, she had a tumor at the end of her esophagus where it enters your stomach. And apparently it must have started bleeding. And she had enough wherewithal at that point yet to call an ambulance, and they came and got her and took her to the hospital. And at the hospital, she lost consciousness, and they did CPR. then she ended up on a vent. And then yesterday, around noon, she passed away. So I am fine. My sister and I were not close at all. I should say we never got along, even as young children. So my nephew called me and let me know what happened. She's lived quite a distance away, so I am not going to the memorial service. Because in all honesty, my body does not take that long drive, and it would be several hours, many hours to get there. So I am just sending my condolences to the children and what have you. So that was the end of my birthday. But like I said, I'm fine. We were not very close at all. I am grateful that she is no longer in pain and is at peace, and it just kind of is what it is. Yeah. Family dynamics can kind of always be a funny thing sometimes. And, there are families that are extremely close. And then there are families like mine that we weren't close at all. Yeah, it just wasn't that way. My parents were not that way. In fact, my granddaughter and I were talking one day about what it was like when I was her age, and I said, I can only remember 2 times in my entire life where my father actually put his arm around my shoulder. Twice. In all the years that he was alive. And that was the day I graduated from nursing school in 1972. And the day I told him that my first husband left me and I was getting a divorce, and that was 1978. And that was it. My parents were not the affectionate type of people. I mean, you didn't hear the I love yous or the hugs or any of that. It just didn't happen in my family. And that's okay. Every family is different. I guess I overcompensated for that with my daughter, because it was always, those were things we did. Yeah, Riverside. Yeah, that's exactly how it is. We didn't like each other very much. We didn't, it was the times I remember are times that she did things and I got in trouble for it. I distinctly remember the time that she stabbed me in the back with a pencil, and I still have the mark, the lead mark on the back of my neck, and I got in trouble. Somehow, I don't remember how, but somehow it was my fault. So, like I said, I am the oldest. I have a brother yet who lives in Oregon. So I was the oldest, and the old saying is true. The oldest breaks the ice for the other 2. My brother was the youngest. He's 8 years younger than I am. And he got away with bloody murder. Now, I was a senior in high school. Okay, so I was going to graduate. It was New Year's Eve. And a friend of mine who lived like no more than a half a mile from my house had a New Year's Eve party. And I was invited, so I went. And my dad, when I left to go to this party, my instructions were be home at a reasonable hour. Okay. So keep in mind, I was a senior. I was 17 years old. It was New Year's Eve. 3 minutes after midnight, between 3 and 5 minutes after midnight, the telephone rang. Because he knew the family. In fact, he worked with the gal's dad. The telephone rang. It was for me. Karen, you have exactly 5 minutes to get home. Okay. There I went. So I got home, and I was grounded for a month. A month! Now, in my mind, 5 minutes after 12 was not a reasonable time. 1 o'clock would have been a very reasonable time. But nope. 1 month I was grounded. So, yeah, I had a very different family. But guess what? It's okay. Oh, I bumped my camera. I'm so sorry. It's okay. And look at me. I lived to tell about it. Yeah. So, yeah, all families are different. Absolutely. River, you're absolutely right. You know, and I will do the same thing. I will send, well, I already have sent condolences. I talked to my nephews, but I will send flowers as soon as I know what the arrangements are going to be. Linda, sounds like you were the same. And Donna, thank you for the birthday wishes. I have a hard time believing. I really do. I have a hard time believing I actually turned 75 years old. What the heck? How in the world did that happen? How did that happen? I don't know. I never ever thought I would still be here at 75. So, it's all of you guys that keep me young. It's all your fault. So you're stuck with me. Yeah. So let's see. What else happened? Well, I don't know why my camera keeps blurring every time I put my hand up. I'm sorry about that. It might be something. Oh, let me look here. Oh, Helen, why did I know you would say that? Why did I know? You guys. Let's see. I'm not sure which one of these takes the blur away. Maybe it's this. Oh, well, I am glad I am not the only one that is 70 now, pushing the next big milestone. Yeah, how the world did that happen? Did that fix it? That's a little better. Yeah, I want to make the next big milestone, I'll tell you that. I really, really do. Because I have too much to stitch. So no, I have to stay long enough to do that. I have to get this bloomin' stocking done. So that's why I have decided to maybe come on a little more often and hopefully get it done while I converse with all of you guys, or I sit here and ramble with you guys. So now it still gets blurry. What the Harry? What is going on? Camera settings. Well, what's this one? Exposure, white balance, focus. Well, it is focus. It just goes in and out of autofocus. What if I turn that off? Well, I can only do auto, and I can't switch it on my phone because I can't see the screen. So I'm sorry, but we might just have to be a little tolerant of the blurriness. But I am sorry about that. I'll see what I can do to fix that till the next time. See, I got out of practice. I really got out of practice. It was quite some time. So what are you guys all stitching on? Here I am rambling and rambling. And what are you folks working on? I'm kind of sitting at a funny angle here, but it's okay. We can do it. We can do it. Well, Helen, yes, you better watch me make progress. Now, if you see any blinking lights, it's my window candles going on. I have candles in my windows. All right, what the world did I don't know what I did there. You guys should see Helen's mom and dad. Oh my heavens. It is a picture of her parents, and honest to God, it looks like a painting. It is totally, absolutely awesome. In fact, Helen, if you send me the picture, I can try and put it on here for people to see if you would like. I think I can do that technology to get it on here if you would like to show it off a little bit. Grands, you're working on Heaven's Window by Haid. Oh, wonderful. Linda Carolyn Manning. You've done quite a few Carolyn Mannings, haven't you, Linda? As I remember. As I remember when we were doing, not Zoom, but meetups on Messenger. Summer in Cobblestone Village. Oh. Jean, is that a Dominic Davidson, if I remember correctly? And you're only 3,000 stitches from a finish. Yay! Yay! That's awesome. If that's the one I'm thinking of, that one was quite a lot of confetti. Quite a lot of color changing. Linda Silverman, you're on GH 1857. That is a Verladen sampler, am I right? I did quite a few of those types of samplers, which I really, really like them. Okay, let me get... Oh, Linda, that's your 5th, Carolyn Manning. Good for you. Good for you. All right, let me see if I can get... pardon me. Oh, okay. Let me... Come on, come on, come on. Let me... Oh, that's not gonna work. Hold on. Hold the phone. I have to sign into my email and get... Oh no, it's not in email. Uh-oh. Wait a second. It's in here. It's in here. Okay. Now, let me copy it and put it into... someplace where I can get it off my computer. Oh, I am so technically challenged. No, I'll get it. I think I can do it. I just have to... I copied it. I just have to be able to save it. Hold still. Hold still. Hold still. Okay, download it. All right. Save. Okay. Now, where did you go? Where did you go? Pictures. There it is. Save. Share. Add to... Hold on. I'm getting it. Save to Dropbox. Okay. And then save here. Okay. I can get it now. So now we want to add... See, and you guys think this is an easy thing. Add an image. Okay. And we'll call this Mom and Dad. Okay. And we will find it in Dropbox. That's not it. That's not it. Let's do this. Let's go to Dropbox and search for M&D. Oh, for heaven's sake. Not today, Linda. We had a lot of rain last night. It got really, really, really windy. Terrible, terrible, terrible windy. And we had quite a bit of rain last night. Actually, it put me to mind of the last 4th of July last year when hubby decided that we were going to move, which we then did. Okay, now I'm going to try this. It's not working. My God. Oh, Lordy. Let's try this. Let's put it here. Oh, no, let's not put it there. Okay, why did it not copy there? Helen, it's not letting me save it. Save to files. Maybe. Maybe. Is that it? There it is. Okay, got it. Open. Okay. There it is. Now, let's see if we can make it a little... Oops, the wrong one there. Put that back. There we go. There we go. I got it. I got it. There it is. Now, this is the picture, I believe. And then let me close that. Okay, and then this will be a little more. Save the files. There. Put it right there. Okay, now let's get the other one. Properties. Browse. There comes. Here we go. And this one is how far she is on stitching it. It is just fan-damn-tastic. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Dropped my iPad almost. There we go, there we go, there we go. And that is her stitch piece. Look at that. Does that not look as good as the photograph? That is phenomenal. And I will say that Helen charted that by herself on one of the online charting things that you can do. Yeah. This is Helen E8J. She's in here. She's in here today. Hello, Catherine. Catherine, right? You were on the other stream. I know. I was having such a hard time getting a stream started. And it was the fact that I had the VPN connected on my computer. And that messes up a lot of stuff. And it wasn't letting me connect to the stream on YouTube. So I had to disconnect that, and then everything worked fine. Hi, Nikki. Nice to see you here. And Sue, yes. But I think I did remember. Was I right? Candied crab apples. Was I right in saying that it's Catherine? I try really hard to remember. I try really hard. But some days it's a little challenge. Mildred, you wish you had as much time to stitch as I want. Someday you will. But then you know what? I have found, and this is terrible. This is terrible. I have found that being retired, I stitch less than I did when I worked. Or when I was first retired. I mean, when I was first retired and I was finishing up Stitcher's Retreat, I stitched 50% of that in a year. I can't remember how many. It was 400 and some thousand stitches, I think. And I stitched 50% in a year. But I was telling somebody else today, I just get too sidetracked. I just go down these rabbit holes. And things I would like to try or other things I would like to do. And then the stitching suffers. And I can't be having that now. I just can't. I can't. I got to get this done for Christmas. I really got to get this done for Christmas this year. I promised myself that I would have it done. But you know what? People said to me, "Oh, Karen, aren't you going to be bored when you retire?" Well, let me tell you. I retired. I turned 75 on Saturday. I retired when I was 61 and a half, not quite 62. So that means I have been retired for 14 years. And people said to me, aren't you going to be bored? Aren't you going to be bored? And I said, pardon the expletive, oh, hell no. Well, let me tell you what, 14 years, and I have yet to be bored one day. No, wait, I will take that back. The only time I was bored was when I was very, very ill from... Oh no, I was still working then. Forget that. I was still working. No, I have yet to be bored. Yeah, I had some major surgeries that ended up with a whole fiasco of stuff, and I was too ill to stitch, and I was probably bored then, but bored because I was sick and couldn't do anything, and yeah. But all in good health. I'm not bored. Never. Never. And I said, I'm still here. And only boring people are bored. I love it. I love it. I'm still here. And the reason I'm still here, I attribute to the fact that there is still some things I must do. I don't know what they are. And I guess I will find out. But my job here on earth is not done. So therefore, I am still here. That's how I choose to believe about it. There are still things that I must do or be here for or whatever. Give support to or, you know. But there's still something I need to do. So, let's see if we can make it to the next milestone. That's the thing. And then I started to tell you, but I didn't tell you the rest of what happened today. Oh my God. Well, for the last 2 weeks, it's been on again, off again, on again, off again. Like, my foot hurt. To the point that some days it was perfectly fine, and other days I try to share my stitching knowledge with you guys, and it will always stay here. Some days my foot is fine, and then the next day I can barely put weight on it, and then I can't walk. Oh, Mildred, okay, you go have a wonderful dinner, and check back when you're finished. We might still be here. But then again, I had days where my foot I couldn't walk. I had to actually get my cane out, and I hate to use a cane because I just hate to do that. So I asked my husband to take me, to drive for me to my orthopedic office, and so I could go into their urgent care and have my foot looked at. I mean, it's where I went when I broke my ankle so bad, and my orthopedic doctors are there. And I can go in the urgent care and get it assessed and then follow up with wherever they recommend. So I went, and Okay, Karen self-diagnoses herself. And I went in and I said, okay, this is where it hurts. This is how it's been. This is what happens. Some days it's good, some days it's bad. I can't put pressure on it, blah, 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 blah. I think I have a stress fracture. So they said, okay, well, let's get you x-rayed and we'll see what's going on. So they did. And then the urgent care, you see a physician's assistant, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. Sometimes they're better than the doctors. Sometimes. So it was fine. I saw him. He showed me the x-rays and I said, that doesn't look quite right there. And he said, do you see the space between this bone and this bone? How big it is? Yeah. Well, now, do you see the space between this bone and this bone? And there ain't nothing there? Yeah. He says, you don't have a stress fracture. This is arthritis. Okay. So I'm in a boot to try and get it to settle down. And then I will go see a podiatrist. Yeah, you are absolutely right. Cynthia, hello, Cynthia. You are absolutely right. I never mind. I don't mind to have to see a physician's assistant. There are some very, very good ones out there. So the good news is it's not a stress fracture. The bad news is, which would heal and go away. No such luck. Karen don't get that. Karen don't get that kind of luck. It is arthritis. And it is probably something I will be dealing with for the rest of my life. So that means don't get rid of the boot. You'll probably need it off and on for a long, 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 long time. I don't know. Maybe they'll want to do injections. But this girl ain't going under the knife again unless she absolutely has to. So we're not going in there and doing any arthritic scrapings or anything like that. Nope, not going to be happening. I'm not doing that. I got to mark my chart off here before I lose my place. I should tell you. Here we No. This. There we go. I started stitching today with, how many stitches did I have done? 250 something. And I just marked some off. I have 279 so far today. And I am currently at 62.27%. Yay! But I'm not done marking off. I hear you. You have osteoarthritis all over your body. Yeah, I hear you. And one of the reasons I thought it might, in fact, be a stress fracture is because, now get this. My gynecologist. Hi, Kelly. My gynecologist sent me for a DECA scan. My DECA scan showed that I have osteoporosis. Okay. Which means I'm going to fracture easier because my bones are crap. Okay. So now I think I have a... However, no one has called me, the gynecologist, nor my primary has called me with the fact that, oh, Karen, you have osteoporosis. Do you think we want to treat it? There's many of osteoporosis meds out there to treat it, to protect your bones. Nobody has chosen to do that. I forgot to ask my primary when I was there the other week. I totally forgot about it. Now, here's my question. At 75, why are we doing a test that we're not going to do anything about the outcome? So, we charged my insurance how much for a DECA scan, which is not cheap, to find out that, yes, you have osteoporosis, but we're not going to do anything about it. So why did we do the test? Okay, soapbox over. But it makes no sense. It just makes no sense. If you're going to test for something, I don't care who you are or how old you are, if you are going to test for something, then treat it. If you are not going to treat it, don't test for it. Yeah. Just my humble little opinion. Totally not stitching related. Now, how did we get off of that subject? Yeah, soapboxes. Well, they could be, but other than this arthritis, the symptoms don't bother me. Maybe they're waiting for me to fall down and break something. But yes, I must make myself a note that, in fact, I did try and follow up now that I think about it. I used the patient portal with my GP, and in there I said, hopefully you got my DECA scan results, and there's osteoporosis, and I put recommendations, question mark, question mark, question mark. Crickets, crickets, crickets. Yeah. And probably he's not the one that ordered the scan, so he's probably not feeling like it's up to him to treat it. And I'll have an appointment coming up with the gynecologist, so she will get asked, okay, what's the deal here? Since she is the one that ordered it. I do like this stocking too, Cynthia. However, between all the white on white and now all the blue, I am so over it. I am so over it. I am so wanting to be done with this. Well, I only see my orthopedic guy when there's an issue, but I could ask when I see them about my foot. But again, they're not the ones that ordered the test, so I don't know that they would feel obligated or want to step on toes to treat it. Usually it's the physicians that order something that are the ones that take responsibility for the follow-through and the treatment. But sometimes I shouldn't say this. Sometimes I feel like they just don't care about us old folks. Like, "Oh, yeah, she's old. So what?" Oh my god, it makes me laugh because my sister-in-law, my husband's sister, we're like 2 peas in a pod, and she just turned 79. Sue, you hate to leave now, but it's half past midnight. Oh my goodness, half past midnight in Germany. Oh my. Yes, you need to get some sleep. Aw. Well, have a great night. Sleep well, and hopefully I'll try and get on earlier in the day so some of you guys across the pond it doesn't get so late. It's hard to pick a time. It's really hard to pick a time. And hopefully that's why I'm here, to help you get your mojo back. So have a great night. Sleep well. And hopefully we'll get to see you next time. Yes, we are our own best advocates. What was I saying? Oh. My sister-in-law just turned 79. And she went for her mammogram. And after she was done and went to the doctor to get the results of it, he told her, "You don't have to come back for this anymore because you're too old. After 75, you don't need to have these anymore." Oh, okay. And then colonoscopies after you turn 75. You don't need to have them anymore. And there was one other thing. Pelvic exams. You don't have to come back for this. You're because of your age. You're too old now. You don't need to come back for this anymore. And I said to her, "Well, you know what? I had that hysterectomy. Well, that's what the doctors are telling her." And it wasn't just one, it was several. I said to her, "Well, I don't know if I want to go for a pelvic exam anymore either." I said, "I had that hysterectomy. It's a dead-end cave. There ain't nothing there to take a pap test of." But my own preference is, even though doctors say, or there are doctors out there that say, "Oh, you turned this age or that age, you don't need to have this done anymore." You know, it's a catch-22. You could find something that would be treatable and increase the quality of your life, or you could, have nothing. Catherine, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I was long past menopause when I had ovarian cysts that could very well have been ovarian cancer. Fortunately for me, they turned out to be just benign cysts, and I said to my surgeon, I said, "You know what? You're taking the works. I don't want to be back here in 2 years to have this done again and have it turn into something. So you're taking everything. You're taking the uterus, you're taking the tubes, you're taking the ovaries and whatever." Yeah. So I did, that's what I did, for that reason. And it's just like, when I was having that done, I made the remarks on here for people, even if you had a hysterectomy, get checked. Get checked, because you never know what you might find. So there's part of me that can say yes, to a point I agree with, do you really need to have this done? But I think it's individual. I think it's an individual thing and what your past history has been. You know, if you went 50 years and your mammograms have always been negative and you don't have dense breast tissue and you check yourself so that if there is something, you can go get it checked. You know, then maybe, okay, maybe not every year, but maybe every 2 or 3 years, go have one done. Because yes, you can find something long past in an older age. It happens. You know, if you have a history of having issues, then yeah, keep on going. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. By the time they test for ovarian cancer, it is usually far too late. Because you don't, it's a silent cancer. It's, you don't become symptomatic or have pain until it's way past the point of really doing anything reasonable about it. That happened, the one nursing home I worked in, what was her title? She's the president and nursing home administrator, and she developed ovarian cancer. She was, at the time, my age. Not my age now, but her and I were the same age at that point in time. And it was already far beyond. And I think within the year, she was gone. So, yeah, it's a matter of preference and what you want to do. And you're right. You have to be your own advocate because ain't nobody else going to do it for you. And I do take calcium for my osteoporosis, though. So it's not probably enough, but it's something. And God forbid, if I fall, I have enough padding. And hopefully it won't do anything. But this darn arthritis in my foot. You know, that Arthur, he comes and gets you every blessed time. He is just an annoyance. And where am I here? See, and this is what gets so boring. This is why I come on live to stitch all one color. That gets boring. I need to pull my chair in a little. Oops, I can't. That gets a little, it goes fast, but wow, it gets boring. Oh, well, that's a good idea. I will ask about that. Amaranth. I can never pronounce those generic names. But yes, I will write that down and I will ask about that. You know, there's calcium, there's controversy. Does it help or is it worth taking or isn't it worth taking? And, you know, one year you hear, oh, take calcium. The next year you hear, calcium doesn't really do anything. So, yeah. But as I said, if they're going to order me these tests, then do something about it. Oh, Cynthia. Yes, I'm glad you can too. How many? 25 people. That's not bad. That's not bad. This was just spur of the moment. This was just, I think I have to sit back in my chair a little bit and give my back a break. Oh, yeah, it was spur of the moment. I just kind of went, maybe I want to do a live again. Maybe I want to stitch on this and see, I made myself a schedule so that I can have this done by the end of October so that I can put it together and he can have it for Christmas. So I have it figured out that I have to do, let's see, I have to do 220 stitches every day between now and October 21st. I have to have that met. I have to do 220 stitches every day, which is fine. And that's doable. However, Karen was a bit of a slacker and she got 2 days behind. So I'm trying to catch up. I did my 220 for today. So now I'm working on the extras. And I'm at 342 now. So soon I'll have a day made up. Well, Catherine, normally that would probably about 2 hours. However, this gal gets sidetracked. She gets sidetracked. Oh, she has to check her messages, and then she has to check what's coming in the mail today. And then maybe she has to look for a little ha-has on Facebook or Instagram. And sometimes she wants to tat a little bit or knit a little bit. But now, today, I have put the tatting away, out of sight, out of mind. I did the same with the knitting, out of sight, out of mind. And the only thing I am going to work on is this stocking. That's it. Or I may do a couple stitches on Pandemic in the evening as just something a little different. But that's it. Until this is done. I'm going to try and stick to that. So, somebody crack the whip when I don't. But I'm gonna try. What do I think about railroading? Well, as a person who no longer stitches with 2 threads, and I have only ever used 1 thread for many, many years now. But there was a time back in the earlier years of my stitching where I did stitch with 2 threads. And I did try railroading. But to be perfectly honest with you, and I don't know what it was that I did different. However, the stitches that I did not railroad, to me, looked identical to the stitches that I did railroad. So I gave it up. I didn't railroad anymore because what I was doing, and I don't know if it was how I was twisting or not twisting my needle or what it was, but I could not tell where I had railroaded and where I did not railroad. Granted, it's not a big deal to do that. I mean, because you are just sticking your needle between the two threads. I got to pull this chair up a little bit. Hold on. Okay. I'm stuck in a hole. Ooh, do you hear my husband yawn? I'm stuck in this hole and it's too far away. Well, I'll just let it go. So I would say check it, test it, see what you think. If it looks different, I agree. Some colors lay different than others. And I think one of the ones that most people have trouble with getting it to lay nicely is white. For some reason, white is a bugger. It just does not want to lay correctly. Now, that being said, I think what I would do to assist with that, maybe rather than railroad, is to run your threads over a damp sponge and then stitch with it. I think that helps you control them a little bit better. The other option would be to use a laying tool. And I think a laying tool helps lay your stitches nicer and more evenly than railroading. But that's just something that I would do. But again, I avoid stitching with two threads at all costs. Not to say that I will never ever do it, because I have learned never say never. But I think if I was stitching with two and I was having trouble, I would, sooner than railroad, use a laying tool. And you don't even need a special tool. Yes. Or use your other hand to keep the threads straight. And that might be what I was doing. I really don't remember because I don't stitch that way anymore. But yes, if you use your finger to lay them, and then you can control them that way so that they go side by side. I mean, granted, you're not stitching two-handed then, but that would be another thing. The other, like I said, you don't necessarily have to buy a laying tool. You can use another needle. My needles are way over there. No, I don't have. Do I have one in here? Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, there's one. You could just use another needle. You have your two strands of floss and just take your another needle and lay it that it's holding your strands side by side. Take your stitch down. Use that needle to work your threads that they stay together, and then that keeps them neater than, I think, trying to railroad. I personally liked that better than railroading. But again, it's experiment. Exactly, Catherine. If you're one who is like, and you're stitching really fast, you're pulling really hard. Yeah, they're going to twist and maybe not lay as nice. But if you take your time, let the threads do their thing, chances are they'll lay nicer than somebody who's I mean, I watch some people stitch, and it's like, oh my goodness, the yanking and what have you. And really, when you're stitching, you just want to pull your thread enough. Find the right hole here. I'm kind of sitting at an angle. You just want to pull your thread until you feel the first sign of resistance. Like right there is where I felt it stop, and I don't want to pull it further than there. Yes, you're absolutely right. Letting the threads do their thing. Yes. And the other thing is, how can I say this? We collectively, as a group of handwork people or handcraft people or needlework artists, have instituted rules that weren't necessarily rules back in the day. I mean, you look at the little girls that stitch samplers, for example. Did all their stitches cross in the same direction? No, absolutely not. Did they carry threads from one place to another? Sure they did. Sure they did. It's modern, well, the latter years of stitching after that, where we have said your stitches must absolutely cross in the same direction. Absolutely. You can't carry a thread. No, you got to end it off and start over four stitches away or whatever. We have done that to ourselves. Now, granted, if you are stitching to be competitive, if you are stitching to enter your things into a show, like Woodlawn, for example, or even EGA, you are stitching to meet their criteria. And their criteria is going to ask for all those rules. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's things we have imposed upon ourselves. And does that take away your joy? Stitching for me is a hobby. I mean, it's a very serious hobby because it's all I do. But it's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to just increase the quality of one's life. I don't stitch to be competitive. Yes, I have entered things in Woodlawn. Yes, I have taken awards in Woodlawn. Did I stitch specific to enter into Woodlawn? No, I did not. I took pieces that I had here that were finished and said, okay, let's just put them in and see what happens. Actually, the last piece that I put in when I took a first place was a piece that I thought, oh my lands, this will never get anything, because I could see some imperfections in it of what I thought they were looking for. And yet I came away with a first place. Did I stitch that piece to enter into that show? Absolutely not. I stitched that piece 10 years before. Yeah. When I was just getting back to cross stitch after doing many years of hard hanger. It was just, okay, let's just, the piece was Long Dog Samplers Do Bears. And that took a first place that year. No, I didn't stitch to be competitive. I just stitched because I liked to stitch, and it was a piece that I liked and I wanted to do it. And that was the end of that. So, but we have made it all these things. They have to cross the same way. They can't carry threads. You have to do this. You have to do that. You know, at this point, I stitch how I want to stitch. I stitch what makes the most sense at the time, and I am going to carry my thread. Oh, you did? Catherine, you had long chats with ChatGPT about issues of stitching and perfectionism. I bet you did. I would be curious what they had to say about it. Did they tell you that you don't have to make yourself crazy? Yes, and you're right. It is still important to untwist your thread. You have to do that. And you know what I do sometimes instead of dropping your needle and letting it untwist? Now this needle is just hanging here because I want to finish using it. If it's threaded, all right, I will take the needle and move it all the way down here to the fabric, and then I'll just sit here and go like this a couple times, and it untwists, and then I don't have to let anything hang. It tried to tell you you might have OCD. Oh my God. Well, I can see where it would do that because we made it so difficult. And that's why, if you remember back, if you've been following my channel for some time, years, you will remember the times when my mantra was, there are no rules in cross stitch. The only rules are the ones you set for yourself. And I still go by that. I will still hold true to that. There's no rules. Stitch how you want. Stitch what makes you happy. Stitch how it brings you joy. You will find the techniques that work the best for you, that make it easier for you, that make it a happy place. You remember me saying that because you watched my old video? Yes, and I did. I said that a lot. In fact, I think it was on my either beginning or ending reels. But I still believe in that. There aren't rules. The only rules are what you want to do. And I also don't like when some people will say to other people, "Oh my God, you can't stitch that way. That's wrong." No, it's not wrong. It's your way. Yeah. Extreme cross country throws all the rules out the window. You're absolutely right, Donna. Are you still stitching extreme cross country? And are you still stitching in hand and sewing? I wonder. Truth be told, this isn't a Q-snap now because it's easier to film in a Q-snap. But anymore, when I'm done on this video, this will come out of the Q-snap and it will go in my little 3-inch hoop and I will sew. I will use the sewing method and it goes so much faster. Yeah. So it's in here for now while I'm on. But I think next time that I do a stitch with me, I am going to just let it out of the Q-snap and use the sewing method and do it that way because I find that more enjoyable, especially when I have these big chunks of all the same color. And even when I get down to the bottom, where I'm doing the church and the houses, I will probably still sew because there's enough clumps of color. When you first started stitching, I was always taught that you can only stitch from up to down and not down to up. Boy, was that wrong. Yes, you're exactly right. You can stitch that X in any way you want. You can go bottom to top and then bottom to top. You can go top to bottom. You can go bottom to top, top to bottom. You can stitch that X however you want to stitch that X. But you are right. You have to learn in what direction you're pulling the hole because you don't want to move from one stitch to another where you're blocking that hole. Because that's then how you get things that don't look as neat. And again, if that's what you're into. No extreme cross country, but I'm using a small hoop and liking that a lot more. Yeah. My recommendation, I guess you can say, has always been when you use a hoop that you're going to hold as opposed to put into a device. When you use a hoop, you don't want the hoop any bigger than the size of your hand. And why is that, you ask? That is because if it's too big, just like a Q-snap, you can't feel what's going on the back. So if you have a hoop that is no bigger than the size of your hand, your fingers can keep track of everything that's happening on the back so that if it's going to knot, you can catch it right away. If you're going to sew, you have your finger back there to push that needle back up. It's if you're going to do a different type and not cross stitch. Say you're going, when I do hardhanger, I always, most times, if I'm not just stitching holding it without anything, I have it in a 3 or a 4-inch hoop so that I can feel and know what's going on the back of the fabric. Just because that's me, because it depends on what I'm stitching. Sometimes my backs look like the wreck of the Hesperus, and sometimes they look pretty okay. It just depends. I'm not fanatical about the back. I will carry. Usually, though, if I'm carrying, I tend to want to do the stitches with the area that, in a certain area, pick the thread, the colors that have the least amount of stitches. Do the carries, save the color that has the most amount of stitches for last, because then they're going to cover up everything. So again, it's where your head's at. It's what makes it fun for you. It's what your expectations are. And yes, Catherine, you're right. A smaller hoop helps you keep the tension better. It also gives you the flexibility, if you're going to use the sewing method, to keep the tension looser and still feel what's going on, and then be able to manipulate that fabric so that you can manipulate the needle up and down. Again, personal preference. Again, whatever makes you happy, because there are no rules. None. Zero. Only the ones you make for you. And what's a rule for you doesn't have to be a rule for me. Doesn't have to be a rule for anybody else in this live stream. If it's a rule for you, it's yours. You can choose to follow it, or you can choose to say, I ain't bothering with that anymore. That's not fun no more. And do the rules change? If you have a rule, can it change? Sure it can. Absolutely it can. I decide, yeah, that's not working so good anymore. Because your piece is going to tell you how it wants to be stitched. It's going to tell you, hey, you got big chunks of color here, so have at it. Use the sewing method. Get them big chunks of color done. Have at it. Oh, wow, this is an area that has tons of confetti. This is an area that in a 10 by 10 square, there's 40 colors. There's only 100 stitches in that square, but there's 40 different colors. Do you want to maybe park in there? Again, up to you, but maybe you do. But then again, I say, oh my God, I don't know if I can stand that many hanging threads. So is that an option? Is that an option for you? You got to look at what's going to work for you. It doesn't have to work for anybody else. It just has to work for you. So there's my soapbox once again. I think this is all things that I've talked about before over the years, but it's always nice to revisit those things and say, you know what, it is okay. It's okay to not have rules. 42 colors in a 10 by 10. Yes, does that not make you crazy? Not make you crazy. But then again, there are people out there who that's cool. That's absolutely cool. Oh, Catherine, thank you so much. You know, I have said that's why I'm here, to share the things that I've learned over the years. Yes, I took a couple courses way back in the day, but they were way back in the day. And 99% of everything that I know, I have learned on my own. I have learned it from other stitchers. I have learned it from reading books. I have learned it through trial and error. It just is, and I enjoy sharing it. And you're right, you don't have to park every color. No, you don't. You don't have to park any if you don't want to, but I felt being a nurse was my mission in life. It was what I wanted to do. It was what I loved doing. But now that I'm retired, this has kind of taken over and said, "You know what? Share what you know." People often said to me, "Oh, Karen, you should write a book. Oh, you should write a book." No, I can't write a book, but I can sit on here and ramble on about things that I know or answer your questions about things that I know. And if I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know. I'll try and figure it out for you, but I'll tell you, I really don't know about that. Or this is what I've heard. It's not something I experienced, like the two threads thing and the railroading. I don't do that. This is what I did in the past, but I don't do that anymore. So my experience with it is more limited because I have not done it in so many years. But that's my mission, to share those things with all of you. And if all of you can learn something from it, that's fabulous. If all of you want to say, "Oh, yeah, she's just full of hot air," yeah, that's okay too. Because you know what? The older you get, the less you care what people think. In a lot of cases. Not in every case, but in a lot of cases. Yeah. So, yes. I'll tell you what else. Catherine, you say you don't have to park every color, and that is true. And Helen, you had 42 colors in a 10 by 10. I'll tell you what else would drive me insane. Have you ever, and that they do this is perfectly okay. Have you ever seen the people that stitch where they stitch one line across the whole chart and they have all the park threads hanging across the whole chart? And I'm not talking a 10 by 10 square across the whole chart. I am talking one individual line of stitches. So row 1 of that 10 by 10 is stitched across the whole chart, and all the threads are hanging. Oh my God, that would drive me insane because, yeah, and they have a million needles on. But it's like, okay, how far, if you have, I don't know, pick a number, 310 here, and maybe you have 4 stitches, and then maybe it skips 5, and then you have more. Where do you start a new thread? How far do you travel with that one thread? Or do you do it by columns? I could never figure that out. Yes, you would be changing colors almost every stitch. Yes, I could not. No. No. That would make it no longer be a hobby. That would make it throw it up against the wall and then in the trash can. Because that's where it would be. Yeah. I could not do that. For me, that ain't gonna be happening. I could not do that. For some people, that's the way they stitch, and God bless them, more power to them. I admire that they can. I can't. I can't. I just can't. But anyway, do you guys, oh my goodness, we're at an hour and a half. Do we have anything else that we need to ramble on about? No, no, no. And that's the other thing. That's the other thing. I hear people say they see somebody else's stitching style, and then they go, "I think I'll try that on my next project." Because I have this one. I'm doing this one this way, so I can't try it until my next project. That's not true. If you want to change styles within a project, you can do that because the only way anybody's going to know that is if they look at the back, because the front's going to look the same. I have done multiple different styles, stitching styles within the same project, and you can't tell. Even this one. Can you tell? No, I can't. Yeah, whatever works. It's your way. My nose itches. There are no rules. It is your way. Whatever you want to do. Just make it fun and just enjoy the journey. It's a very all or nothing mindset that you're guilty of. Well, did he say you had OCD? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah. I have no problem switching stitching methods. Oh, good Lord, this thing go away. There. I have no problems switching methods. None whatsoever. My Stitcher's Retreat has every method known to man on it. The weather here today has been partly cloudy. We had no rain today. All the rain was last night. It was nasty. It was really nasty. But in fact, I said to my husband, the house that we sold, for those of you who have been around a while and know that history, we used to get we got a lot of water in the basement, and that's what prompted us to sell and to move. All that rain we had last night, I said, oh, I think they're going to be finding out what it's really like when it rains, because they were probably going to get water. Oh. Jean, your piece was a Kincaid piece. Okay. Because his and who did I say it was? That person. They're some of their designs are very close. Different, but close. Cynthia, we have no basement. And that was the first thing my husband said when when we were looking for a house. He said to the realtor, the first and most important criteria is no more basement. Oh, Kesey, you watch Blitz Stitch and his diagonal method, and it boggles my mind. Do you know what? It boggled my mind, too. It absolutely boggled my mind. And my friend stitches the way he does. Okay? That is why when you look at my early videos on diagonal method, I'm stitching across the row. So if you haven't watched them, you might want to look at those if you're interested in trying diagonal stitching. They're back several years ago. They're back in the beginnings of my videos, but I do explain a diagonal method. It is similar to Brian's Blitz Stitch, but it's not stitching Vertically, it's stitching horizontally, and it's going line by line down the diagonal, which to me, in my head, made a lot more sense than trying to stitch vertically. I can't do that. That just makes me goofy. It just, my head doesn't wrap that way. So, yeah, if you're interested in it, check those out. If not, it's okay. However you wish. The information is there for the taking if you want to. Yes, Jean Davidson, Dominique Davidson. I do like his designs, but oh my, 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 my. I think that would be another 5-year stitch. I'm trying to not like these big, huge pieces so much anymore because they take so long. And it's like, I have a lot to stitch, and I don't know how much time I have left to do it. If anyone saw your full coverage stitching, they would say, oh my gosh, she stitches every which way but loose. Good job, Cynthia. Good job. And you know what? It's okay. It's just fine. Not to worry. And people should not judge other people's stitching. That drives me up a wall too. When people are judgmental of how someone stitched or what they stitched or whatever. You know what? It's not your piece. This person's happy. The only person they have to please is themselves. And as long as that person is happy with the outcome of what they have, it is nobody else's business to judge it. That's my thought, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, it's, yeah. They just, no, because there are no rules. All goes back to that. It all comes full circle back to the point of there are no rules. Stitch how you want. And if you want every X to cross in a different direction, that's fine. That's fine. Those little girls didn't worry about it. And those little girls probably did the sewing method. I can't foresee that they sticked and stabbed because they were probably stitching in hand. I don't even know that they had hoops. I don't know. I shouldn't say that because I can't prove that one way or the other. But they didn't worry about how the X's were crossed. They were crossed. That was the important part. They didn't worry about the thread showing through from the back because they traveled. They traveled. So it's all whatever you are happy with. Karen's just going to have to stitch faster. You can get more large pieces done. Oh, yeah, right. Dream along with me. Dream, dream, dream. Yes, finished pieces are special. Do you know, my Stitcher's Retreat hangs in my living room, and it is just my pride and joy. Brings me joy every time I see it. Every blessed time. And I said to my daughter, I said, when I am not here anymore, that's one piece you better keep. Absolutely better keep. The other piece she better keep is that is behind me. That is, I think, 13 different samplers made into a quilt. Yeah. I don't know if I can get my Brio to zoom. I don't know that I can do that. Because I never really, yeah, I don't think I can. I think I just have it on. I don't think it's, I don't think no, I can't. Not from here. I have to use another program to make it zoom, but I will find a picture of it for next time and show you that. Um, yeah, I ran out of wall space, so I had them made into a quilt. So, let's see. No, they're all by different designers. All different. There's some Scarlet Letter, there's some Gigi Reese, there's some European reproduction samplers. Yeah, it's a variety. It's a variety. Let me see. Let me see if I have a picture up here. Let me look. Maybe there's a picture there. Maybe not. Oh, geez, I wish it showed me. Oh. Oh, I have lots of pictures here, but not the ones that, not the one of that. That don't work. That don't work. Nope, that's all my samplers that I gave away when I moved. Oh, my. Yes, I did give a lot away. No, that's not it either. I will have to find it for next time. Because I don't know. Nope. See, that's the thing. My photos are in my iPad, but my computer is a Windows computer. So I have to always try and put things where I can get them in between. And that doesn't always, no, that's not it. La 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 la. Nope. I'll have to find it for next time. No, that don't work. Yeah, I'll find it for next time. Unless I, okay, I'll go get it. I'll go get it. Let's make this bigger. Let's make this bigger. Look, there you can see it a little bit. I'll go get it. Hold on. Okay, I might have to. Let's turn this away. Let's turn this way. Oh, and get it out of my way. There we go. Ouch. Now I can probably only show you half at a time. Okay. Oh, look, my phone. Well, I'm going to show it to you here, and I'm going to move this. This is what happens when you go from what you used to have was a great big space down to a not so big space. Here we go. All right, what's this? Let's back out a little bit. Oh, that's the Brio. I can't adjust that one. Okay. So here we go. Where am I here? All right. So I'm at the wrong side. Here we go. There we go. Okay. And then we'll go up. And then we'll go over. So see, they're all different. And then which way? Yeah, see, they're just, I can never get this right. You know what? I'm going to stand back here. No, I got to go this way. Here we go. All right, there we go. See? All different. They're all different. All different. And then the other side, well, that was the top, and then there's the bottom. I better turn them this way. So this is what you can do when you have too many pieces to put on your wall. Okay. So that just gives you an idea. I will put a picture in another video for you to see. But yes, this I told my daughter, there ain't no way that you get rid of this. This has to be passed down to one of the kids. They probably won't care. Because, you know, kids care less and less about that kind of stuff these days. Okay, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do this here. I haven't done stitching. Now I broke it. I really broke it. Now I have to hold it. put this down. And I'll put this back up. And then I can sit here and still yakety yak with you a little bit. Well, you know what? I tried to get the grandkids to get interested in stitching. Nah. Probably because they're too young yet. Emmy, who's really Imogen, is only 11. So she's not into it. She's only into YouTube stuff. And Abe, well, he's not into it so much either. They're both pretty much into soccer. Yes, you're right. Cross stitch is making a comeback. It was kind of, but I think if kids want to do it, they need things that are more geared to their age groups and not old people samplers. No, I did not interface the embroidery. It is just bordered quilt backing. A friend of mine, her sister, made it into the quilt for me. So, yeah. But I'm pretty sure she didn't put any interfacing on them. She just ran borders around and then pieced them into that quilt. I told her, here's the pieces. Do whatever you want with it. Whatever you feel is going to work the best, that's what you do. Because I'm not going to get about how it is. It's like, just make it into a quilt and I will be happy with whatever you come up with. So that's what she did. Catherine, I did too. I learned to knit when I was, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years old. And I did that for many, many, many years. I wanted to learn how to crochet, and my grandmother was going to teach me, and she did a little bit, but she crocheted with crochet cotton and not yarn. So and well, no, she taught me basically how to do it, and she would crochet the pieces that you put on the back of a chair or armchair covers, and she never used a pattern, but she put the designs in it where it was a deer or some kind of design, and she never had a pattern, but she would let me try and crochet on it. And she was a very meticulous, tight crocheter. Well, Karen didn't do that. So whatever I did when I was with her, she would rip out as soon as I left and redo it. But then I kind of taught myself with yarn, and today I do some with cotton. Yes. Oh, oh my goodness. Yes, spool knitting. Oh my God. I made miles and miles and miles of that stuff. So long that when my mom was a knitter. And when she had scrap yarn, she would give us the yarn and I would make it on my spool. And I had a rope, I guess that's what you would call it, that was so long, I carried it around in a plastic bag. And I never made anything out of it, but I had one heck of a long rope. Yeah, all different colors. Now, my grandkids did try that, and they did like that. But I don't think they kept up with it. I think they only do it if Nana says, "Hey, are you still doing that, or do you want to do that?" But other than that, they don't. So, yeah, there's so many things happening today that kids can do that I hope the crafty things don't get lost. And they just have to be a little older, I think, to want to pick up and learn those things. My daughter doesn't do any of it. I tried to get her to do some, but they just have their lives are too busy with other things, which is sad because you hate to see these crafts because they are art. You hate to see them get forgotten because we don't want to see that at all. So, well, my dear people, it's been 2 hours. It's the longest video you ever had from me. Oh my. So, I hope so. I hope they do appreciate them when they get older because you're right. These days, they want something where they can see results right away. Absolutely right away. And, well, as we know, that ain't gonna happen with this stuff. It just doesn't happen. So, at any rate, I think we are going to call this a day for another spontaneous video. That's my cat feeder. Hear it? They'll come running anytime now. Maybe. Spoiled rotten. They are spoiled rotten. So I think I'm going to call this a day. And I will catch you another time. It will be a surprise. You will never know when. Yeah. So until next time, my friends, have a great rest of your evening or your day or whatever it happens to be at this point in time. So I will catch you next time and keep on stitching. Remember, there are no rules. See you next time.